Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Rocha versus Santillan fight. If you are new around here though and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, like video if you do indeed like video, and let's get straight into it. So going into this fight, Rocha is 23-1 with 15 KOs and Santillan is 31-0 with 16 KOs. This fight is for the WBO NABO welterweight title. Rocha's last fight was a win via KO in round 5 versus Young, and Santillan's last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Bone. They are both southpaw fighters from a similar area, and neither of them are big punchers really. Rocha is 26 and Santillan is 31. Rocha's only loss came via unanimous decision versus Ellis in 2020. Speak a bit more about what I just said there. Of course, it's for a NABO title. It's a big fight in the division, possibly with the likes of Crawford and Spence moving up and fighting their possible rematch in the super welterweight division. Seems like the world titles might become open, so this fight could be quite a big fight and possibly a eliminator for a title fight afterwards. You never really know. Rocha's, of course, last fight was a very good stoppage from him versus Young, and Santillan's last fight was a comfortable victory against Bone as well. So both coming off pretty good performances, and the fact that they're both southpaws, that's going to play a factor in the fact of that also, like I said, neither of them are really big punches. They're both gonna be similar, contrasting of styles. I think this fight is a very good fight because it is such a similar contrast in styles, and I think it's gonna gel and make a great fight. And the fact that they're both from a similar area, I don't know I don't even know my geography very well. I don't know America that well, but I know it's from a similar area, so they're gonna probably have relatively split fan base, which would be I'm sure it would be a good venue to be at. Of course, Santillan having that 5-year age disadvantage, possibly arguments that he's in his prime now, so maybe it's not a disadvantage. Of course, Rocha having the defeat versus Ellis back in 2020, but since then he's been looking unstoppable realistically since, and has brought himself back up into this level, and now he's back fighting in big fights again. Also on this card though is Machino versus Fundora for the IBF World Flyweight title, in which I think Fundora will win via unanimous decision. I think Fundora, she's the much taller fighter, like her brother is. She's much taller in most of her fights, and she's got that run behind her now. This is her first major step up, but I feel like she'll be able to deal with it well. I think Machino she's been doing well recently and is coming off quite a good win, to be fair to her, but I think Fundora is just going to be able to be too much for her, and then, like I said, be able to get the unanimous decision victory. But back onto the main event of the card. So Rocha as a fighter, he's been active recently, been fighting quite a lot recently. Same with Santillan, to be fair. They've both been quite regularly fighting. I believe this is both of their 6th fights in the past 2 years. Might be wrong with something like that. So both quite irregular for big fighters, big name fighters really, to be fighting quite often like that is quite a rarity really, but it's nice to see. As a fighter though, he closes the gap well. He lets his hands go, he's confident, he can be either light on his feet or plant his feet, and he plants his feet well and is light on his feet when needed. It's a nice variation. He cuts off the ring well, he's got a good shot selection, he's got a digging body shots, he has been digging body shots. He's willing to trade as well, and he is composed when he is trading, in my opinion. It's, like I said, going to be a very good contrast in styles this fight. Rocha has been so good on the inside as of recent and does just outwork opponents and really just kind of put on that relentless pressure, but it's also composed pressure when he knows that when he's had a bit of success when you're on the ropes, he'll then work out what best options are the best for him to throw, and he goes to the body very well and uses that uppercut to the body very nicely. Negatives about him, he does get hit on the inside. It's kind of the thing when you fight on the inside, you're most likely going to get hit. He struggles to impose himself physically wise. I feel like he's not amazingly good at that. He can be bullied sometimes as well when he's not physically being able to, when he's not outworking somebody, or if they're just willing to take punches and then walk through that, you can then walk through that and then push him back. But of course it is tough to do that, but it can be done. He's not got loads of head movement, he's not got crazy hand speed, and he does drop his guard as well. So little things there, nothing really major, but there's things there which is weaknesses, which I'm sure Santillan's going to be looking at. Santillan as a fighter though, he's also an inside fighter that's also going to let his hands go. He's, in my opinion, wanting to prove a point here, because this for him is a step up in opponents. I feel like Rocha, this is a step up for him as well, but I feel like Rocha has the better resume, and saying he's had less fights and Santillan's had the more fights, people have started to now kind of been overlooking Santillan, I suppose, and thinking that he's just got a bit more of a padded record. And I feel like this fight is the fight which is going for him. He's going to be wanting to make a statement, come in and do that, and prove that he isn't just somebody that's trying to pad his record and find successes by beating lesser opponents, but he's actually about it, and he actually wants to be making moves in the division. And so I'm sure he's going to be wanting to come in and prove a point here. He's also been active, like I said. He pushes punches through the guard, which is something impressive to do. I feel like he does that a bit more than what Rocha does. He walks you down as well. He's aggressive. He's got a strong jab. He's got good uppercuts. He will make it rough as well. He sometimes sticks his head in, which necessarily isn't always the best thing, because he means he's open to uppercuts as well. But he'll make it rough, and he knows how to frustrate opponents as well. He can get around the guard with his punches, his hooks. The way he can loop his hooks around people's guards is really impressive. He's got that relentless pressure as well, and he does pivot well as well when he is working off the inside. So yeah, like I said, similar type fighters. I feel like Santillan might be that bit more of an aggressive fighter, where Rocha is a bit more composed. I think Santillan's got a better uppercut, but his uppercut kind of goes more to the head, and Rocha uses his to the body, and that's very good as well. I feel like I said, Santillan, I feel like he's going to make it rough and try and frustrate him, but if Rocha can stay disciplined, then he might not be getting frustrated from that. Santillan's negatives, he's, in my opinion, he sometimes throws from a bit of a high position, like his guard and his whole arms are just really high up his head. Maybe that's just something I was just looking too deep into, but sometimes he seems like he throws it from too high, and he's not really getting much power from doing that. I don't know, that might just be me. He's not overly physically strong as well, but I feel like he does impose himself with that kind of maybe more dirtier to an extent style, with his head coming in a little bit more than what Rocha does. He's got a bit of a high guard. Like I said, when he has his head in, he drops it, and it's not the best. On the back foot, I don't feel like either of them's really been put too much on the back foot, and so whoever's going to win that kind of war and end up pushing the other person back, which I'm sure will happen at some point, is going to be interesting to see how they deal with that, as this, like I said, they're not really used to it that much. He does headhunt a bit as well, Santillan. He doesn't go to the body anywhere near as much as what Rocha does. He can overswing as well a little bit. He does get hit on the inside as well, so like I said, it's probably going to be a war. And he does have a bit more of a square up kind of stance, and stand just square on, and obviously that means he's going to be more open to getting hit as well. Rocha is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Santillan will win via unanimous decision. I think Santillan, his aggressive nature, if he can keep that going through all the rounds and really walk him down and put Rocha on the back foot and really dig in with shots, I feel like this is going to be a great fight. I think Rocha could possibly find success in the earlier rounds, but I think Santillan might have that more of a heart about him, and just being able to dig a bit deeper and just outswing him in the end, and just land them fierce shots, which I feel like Santillan, if he's fighting some of the best, he might possibly struggle against a really high level counterpuncher, but Rocha isn't that, and I feel like I said, that neither of them have really experienced it. So just from what I'm going off, I'm going to go with Santillan victory, just out of that pure aggressiveness and being able to try and impose himself onto Rocha, and then Rocha, I don't know if he's going to like that much, and then his body work is the only thing which he could use, but I feel like Santillan's going to win. Where would he go on to next? I feel like it has to be a high level fighter. I don't think it's going to go straight. It could go on to a world title fight for, like I said, a vacant belt, but I don't think it would go on to fighting Crawford or Spence or Ennis really. So a possible option, Stanionis, I think could be a good option. He's been waiting for a fight for a while with Ortiz, and so as it seems like that probably isn't going to be happening, even though Ortiz is seemingly returning in January. He could be wanting a fight and craving a fight and end up fighting Santillan. Crowley is another person wanting a fight. You never know. He's been around this kind of rankings for a little while now. Or Ellis. Ellis hasn't fought since his loss versus I forgot who it is. I can't remember. But since his loss, and that was at the start of this year, I believe. So he could be wanting a return, and if he's not wanting to really drop the level, I'm sure that could be a good fight as well, because he is still a top level fighter and quite highly ranked in quite a few governing bodies, I believe, as well. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you did, like a video, subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.